Okay. All right. So as you guys are joining, this is a different live today. And please, computer, don't be having. Here, let's turn the volume down. Because I actually had to have notes for this one. There, mute. Okay. So I only get an hour, so let's see, I have till 7 after. I'm not going to take questions this time, but if you guys have questions that are coming through, and there's a bunch of them, I just might have to go another hour. So, anyway, it's good to see some of you guys are, okay, get settled in on the, just like, my Candid Heart, she's saying again, I'm getting all cozy in the sofa and grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. I don't know if I can tell the whole story in an hour. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, it'll take less. All right, so this is something that happened back in 1995. We were visited by a police officer. And he came into our house. We actually invited him in. But as we had a conversation with us, he had a conversation. He said, if you two don't cling to each other, your marriage will be over in a year. And he was delivering the news that are the official notice on the death certificate of our first son, of Tyler. He died at 9 weeks old of SIDS. So he came to deliver that news from the coroner. And so Corey and I really took that to heart, and we've been sticking together ever since. So, wow, that's a great way to start, right? But it actually gives you a background into who Corey and I have developed into as a partnership. Okay, now fast forward 17 years later, and I love the hearts. Thank you guys. That's so nice. Okay, so I have had, I'll let you guys count, but I did it for you. We have tried 14 different businesses. 6 of them were network marketing companies. So I'm going to go through them. One is Lumet, Metal, Grand Central Station, which is a business that we did with my mother and my brother. Salutations, which was where I was creating thank you notes. Bodywise, Melaleuca, Finally Finished. That's how that name came about, which was doing scrapbooking for other people. Simple Steps Flowers is a book that I published with EK Success. Then I did Simply Tops, page toppers for scrapbooks. Then I started checking out jewelry design because I just do all the things. And then did Univera and Shosai Healthy Chocolate and all of that. Also was writing a book called What You Don't Fix, Your Kids Inherit with Corey. Wrote that book with him. That took us about 2 years. And while that was also going on, then I started the Parenting Chat Cafe with my very best friend, Kirsten. And then also was learning how to be a better parent. And so I wrote another book, an ebook called Easy as Pie Parenting, which is, it's an easy process for parenting, but it's not simple. Or actually, I should say it's a simple process. Back and forth. It depends. But what both Kirsten and I learned was that getting into the parenting niche of doing a business was very, very hard unless you had a bunch of letters after your name. And I didn't have a master's in psychology and all of that stuff. Even though Kirsten and I were great moms, now we've kind of morphed into being business women. And what's interesting is that the very first network marketing company, the first business that I tried, was Lumet. And anybody who's been around for almost 50 years might remember it. It is the first company that was done as a direct sales network marketing company, and it was hard gel. So I've been doing gel for a long, long time, and have kind of moved on from that, but still have a love of gel and the people who also love it. So, okay, that's the beginning. So I did Lume in 1988. That was 30 years ago. Nothing like making you feel older. Okay, so Corey and I had published that book, What You Don't Fix, Your Kids Inherit, and we had done a bunch of personal growth. And so that was kind of the culmination of everything that we had learned in terms of if we didn't like our children's behavior, it was because of us as parents. And so I started to really look at my behavior and how I was relating to my kids. And so as a result, there came that book, and then also the Easiest Pie Parenting process. But after 2 years, and another thing was that I had fired our book layout designer because I knew how to lay out books, and so I did it, and found over 100 mistakes. So I was really glad that I had done it, but that had taken like another 4 months, and I was just too tired. And when I was done, I was like, all I want to know is how to get my polish to stop chipping in the shower. It was very, very important that I learned that, because I was tired of spending all of this time doing nail art and getting in the shower, and then it was all starting to chip off. Drove me insane. So I put that in the Google 8-ball, and it delivered me the world of nail art, nail polish swatchers, of nail videos. That's where I discovered water marbling by who was the first one who was really good. My Simple Little Pleasures, Colette. She was awesome. I was just mind blown. And I was like, I gotta try this someday. And it only took 5 years for me to finally try water marbling. So I sort of fell into this 2-week-long rabbit hole. And after 2 weeks, this was about 6 years ago, I was like, okay, I think I've sort of pretty much absorbed everything that the internet has to give me. I'd asked all kinds of questions. The first one was, how do I get my polish to stop chipping in the shower? And then other ones, how do I strengthen nails? How do I stop them from breaking? Sound like a lot of the titles of my articles. And I found all kinds of myths, and I almost fell for some of them. And like I talked about yesterday was the garlic myth. And so I had learned a lot of myths, and I had learned a lot of good stuff along the way. And one of them was the importance of nail oil. So I thought, well, okay, I'll go get in cuticle oil, because they weren't called nail oils back then. And is that crazy that I can say back then? Anyway, and so I went to Sally's, and I went a bunch of other places, and they all had almond oil in them, and I'm allergic to almonds. So I was like, snap. Okay, so now, new project, start researching all of the oils that were in the commercial cuticle oils, and then do more research, and I looked at the DIY recipes, and I looked at those ingredients, and why are those in the DIY recipes, and why are they in the commercial products, and why are they in a particular order in the commercial products. And I started to put 2 and 2 and 4 and 4 together, and so I was like, I'm a mom, I've made some recipes, I will just get in the kitchen and start tinkering. And I kind of went this, and to this date, I've only added 1 ingredient. So it was a really good recipe. And as many of you know who have been to Nail Care HQ and also my Bliss Kiss, you'll see pictures of me with a red manicure, and my nails are really short. And then the next one right next to them, they're incredibly long. And that was after 4 months of using my oil. And I was like, wow. Maybe somebody might like to buy this, because it had gotten to the point where my nails were really long that day. That was the last day before I cut them, because my family was like, Mom, you need to cut those. You're going to hurt somebody with them. And so I thought, well, there might be another girl on this planet who might like our oil. And so that's how we started. And then 3 months later, Corey got laid off from his work of 13 years as an IT, in the IT world. And he had moved up to middle management and was a software tester manager of things. And he liked his job. He did it well, but he didn't love his job. So when he got his pink slip, we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? We have 4 children. We have a mortgage. We have to feed those 4 children. And so actually, Corey and I knew that this was the right thing that had happened to us. And so we toasted with champagne. That's a different way to do that, huh? Because we knew it was the right step in a new journey, but scared us. And so we ended up living off of we lived off of unemployment for about 1.5 years, and then about 2/3 of our retirement income before we were able to, our owner draw that we were able to take was large enough to cover our living expenses. So that was really, really scary, especially the first year. And so Corey and I worked like 14-hour, 16-hour days, just nonstop. And God bless our children who were patient and just took it. They just rolled with us. And there was actually a period of time for a couple of years, about 1.5 years, where they had do 30 minutes of business work on their chore list for their chores for the day, and they had to do that. So yes, we definitely had to jump in and get help with manufacturing because we couldn't do it all. I was writing articles and doing social media, and Corey was doing the whole website background thing, and so the kids were helping with manufacturing, and they were not happy about it. So then, and one of the big things when I started the oil was learning the importance of jojoba. And you guys know I talk about that. And the jojoba is called an oil because when you look at it, it looks like an oil, but it is, it's liquidy like an oil, but it is nothing like an oil. It's a wax ester. And it is derived from the jojoba seed, and it's good jojoba is cold pressed like olive oil is. And so what you get is this beautiful liquid gold. And so because of sperm whale hunting being banned in the 1970s, the beauty industry needed a replacement for the blubber. Is it the blubber, or is it, anyway, it's stuff that came from the sperm whale. And so guess what? The closest thing was jojoba. So then all of a sudden there's this new industry. And under the microscope, jojoba looks almost like body oil. And you guys know I've talked about that over and over and over again, but I knew that it was pivotal, critical for our nail oil. But I will say that with starting a business, when you're going to start a company, I do not recommend starting a company with a product that no one knows why they need it. That's dumb. It makes your life really, really hard. Business entrepreneurs who are coaching now, they always say, go find something that's selling and do it better. You know, get yourself or find a different niche that needs that product because you know that people want it because it's selling. So what do? No, make life harder for myself. So I realized now I need to teach people why they need it. And the best way for me to do that, because I had already written 2 books, it was that I needed to teach everybody why it was important and why our nails fall apart and why they peel and why they break and what are all the things that we need to do, because as you guys have all learned from me, it's not just a one thing fixes all. So there's a lot to caring for our nails, just like there's a fair amount caring for your hair and your skin and your property and, you know, everything. So, okay, so let me figure out where I am. Corey's laid off. Oh, here's a crazy thing, and I know all of you nail polish crazy addicts like me. I was on a 2 year no buy, polish no buy when we started this company. Do you know how hard it was for me to not buy polish for 2 years? I broke it a little bit, but usually only with polishes that were on extreme, extreme clearance. So that was not fun. But I really, really enjoyed the writing process, um, and the connection that I was getting on social media, and being able to help and coach and teach. And actually, it's kind of fun because there's still a couple of people that are around who asked me questions at the very beginning, and I still see that they're out there, loving their nail polish and nail art, and that's pretty darn cool. And they have much longer nails than they did when they came to me. Um, so in January, so Corey was laid off in 2012. In January, with the guidance of my best friend, she caught an idea. There was a Facebook group, I don't remember the name of it, but there was some gals in there who discovered the oil and then told their whole Facebook group, oh my gosh, you guys got to see this. They showed the before and afters. And then like 30 women bought the oil, and they all would get on and they'd go, I'm going naked. I will be back in 3 days. And so then they started showing their before and afters, and Kirsten was like, oh, let's do a get naked challenge. That'll grab people's attention. And so that's how it started. That's how the whole get naked challenge, and doing it. We wanted to tie that challenge and event to a sale. So it was like, nope, we're only going to do sales twice a year, and it will be combined with a get naked challenge. And so we started that, and it was very successful. So one of the things too, when we started the business, we ordered 100 pens from China. That was the minimum you had to order. And within a couple of months, we were ordering 100, then 200, then 300, and 500. So it was like, okay, it's working. And then I started looking at other products, and one of the and that was the beginning of me going, I'm looking for problems. I see problems. And one of my problems right off the gate was, I couldn't get all of my nail polish shaken up because some companies were cutting costs, and they were eliminating the mixing balls. They were either decreasing them to one, because normally for decades they've been two mixing balls, and they were decreasing them to one, and then some of them actually had no mixing balls. Well, how the heck are you supposed to mix that up? So I sourced the mixing balls, stainless steel, and started selling those. And like, I have some glitters that are, this was the beginning of the chunky glitter phase, and combining all of the different glitters. And so we would get these glitter bombs, and you couldn't shake them up because they didn't, even if they did have two mixing balls, you couldn't shake them up. So there's some that I have that have 5 mixing balls, so you can start shaking those up. So one of the things that also was happening at the same time as I was creating our oil recipe, my mother, who is a chemist and has done all kinds of things as well, her husband had passed away, and he was her back scratcher, and so her skin was getting very dry, and she needed a solution for her dry skin. And so at the same time that I was doing the oil, she was creating a whipped body fluff. And some of you will remember our Simply Whipped. Gosh, it's been so long. I don't even know if I remember the name of it now. No, Simply Satin. There we go. Had to go look at a container. And because first it was called Head Over Heels, and it was just magical. It just was like putting whipped butter on your skin, and it just soaked it up, and it was fantastic. And then, so we actually carried that product for about 2.5-ish years. But it became a problem, and that was the first product that we discontinued because it's very difficult to ship a whipped product, whipped butters and oils and stuff during the summer, especially when we didn't know how long they were going to sit in a hot warehouse with shipping or in a hot delivery truck as it's coming out to you and sitting in a hot mailbox or on the porch with the entire afternoon sun beating on it. So we ended up with lots and lots of it being arrived melted. There still was a little bit of air in it, but it was just becoming too much of a problem. So we ended up discontinuing that one. We've only discontinued 2 products, and the other one was not by choice. So I'll get into that. Okay, so we did the mixing bowls, the fluff. Then there was about the time a little after fluff was we were manufacturing that. It was the first other woman entrepreneur that I teamed up with, and it was Donna of Sweet Baby by Donna. Many of you know her. And I promoted her, and she didn't even know me, and I promoted her in my Instagram account. And she said, she texted me and she's like, oh my gosh, that was the nicest thing somebody's ever done, and it made me cry. And it was like at that point that I realized that women entrepreneurs, we have something really, really important. We understand people really well. We understand the needs and finding problems and solving those. And so Donna was she was on her own journey and had discovered how important jojoba was. And so we were the first 2 that had jojoba as our first ingredient. And we were doing it separately. So when I featured her, I knew she was having a 30% off sale. And I knew she had been creating good products because everybody was raving about them. And so we teamed up actually for 1 year for one of our Get Naked challenges. And that happened because people were hearing about both of us so much that one time she goes, so where do I get this baby Bliss stuff? And I just glommed on that and I was like, Donna, oh my gosh. And so we decided to team up and we did a joint bottle with a blended label, a blended logo of her little lotus and then our kiss mark. So that was really cool. And she wasn't ready for the fact that teaming up with us kind of blew up. She had pretty much gotten prepared, but she sold so much and owed so much in taxes. She was like, I don't know if I can do this with you very often. So, and then about a year later, she got a promotion and was so busy with her 2 little ones. She's hasn't been working on her products nearly as much. So, okay. So that's Sweet Baby by Donna in 2013. And sort of about that time, I got an opportunity to start a online magazine. And I was like, this is great. This will be a great compliment. No, Anna, you're starting another business. You're making things more complicated. But it really connected me with a lot of bloggers. It gave me that opportunity to design a magazine because I love graphic design and page layout. So that was really fun, but it just started to get harder and harder and harder. So actually that's still on iTunes. You can go find it. We turned the whole subscription to free because I didn't want it to disappear. If you're not creating new content, then iTunes is like, yeah, you're done. We're going to delete everything. So there's my gift to the world. So that is free and go. There's some amazing, amazing art, and I broke everything down. I got the bloggers to help me, but a lot of times they'd forget steps because they just knew what they were doing and didn't realize it. And so I would go from step 1 to step 30 if I needed to, usually about 10 or 12, of how to actually do all of those. So that was, I really, really enjoyed it, but it was just in combination with Bliss Kiss, it was just getting way, way too hard. Okay. The next thing was I sent a little task to my mother, our chemist. Many of you know her as Mrs. Chemist. I said, Mom, I need a product that, because our oil is so light, and people who work with fabric, paper, or water, it just rinses right off or it rubs right off. So I need a product that can create sort of a water resistant barrier, but I don't want it to be greasy. It has to be just right. And I thought, there's all these products with beeswax in them. Let's try something like that. And so she did, and the product kept being too hard. Too hard, too hard, too hard. She kept giving me different samples, and she kept backing off on the beeswax. But even at like the smallest amount of beeswax, I felt like it was too hard, and it just took way too much rubbing to get it to melt with the heat of your body. And so I just sent her back to the drawing board, and I said, and so she did like another month's worth of research and then figured out, oh, it's lanolin. And so for people who are vegan and vegetarian and have very strict rules, it's basically the body oil of sheep that gets trapped in their wool and makes it water resistant. And so when that is harvested, no sheep are harmed. The sheep are shorn, and they actually need to be done. That needs to be done every year. Otherwise, dreadlocks. The sheep turned into all of their wool turns into dreadlocks. It felts basically, and it's really, really very hard on the sheep. So then they take that wool and they have a process that takes the lanolin from it. So Mom put that in, and I was like, wow, it smells terrible, Mom. It smells like sheep. And I had grown up with sheep because my mom had a couple of them when I was little. And so I knew what it smelled like to be around a sheep. And I was like, no, this is not an option. And so she kept putting in more and more fragrance. And then it just smelled like crisp sheep, because that was our fragrance from the very beginning. And so she's like, and it just kept so then the product kept getting too soft because it was getting too much liquid into it. And so I'm like, gosh, isn't there somewhere that that the lanolin goes through some process that takes the fragrance out? So she did more research, and she goes, yes, there is. And it costs 3 times as much. You can't use it. And I'm like, I don't care how much it costs, Mom. Just get it and try it. And so I loved it. And that is why we have pharmaceutical grade lanolin that costs 3 times as much. But Mom's mother grew up during the Great Depression, and so money and saving and all of that is very just cellular. It's just ground into the bone. And when I was doing the business, I said, I don't care how much it is. I will price things accordingly, but I want to create the best product first. I'm not going to skimp on ingredients just because of the dollar. So that's why you find a lot of our products are more expensive than others, and it's because I absolutely refuse to skimp on the product first. So, okay, my computer keeps going to sleep. Let's see. So with the lotion stick, my mother actually hated it. So when she finally got it right, she goes, Anne, this is the worst product. I absolutely hate it. How can you possibly like it? I'm like, Mom, this is the best thing. It's perfect. It's exactly what I needed. And it took her over a year to actually like it. So then the next product was our crystal nail files. So actually, for those of you who don't know what our lotion stick looks like, it's like this. It comes solid, and I just rub it on the back of my hands, and only one hand too. And then I rub the backs of my hands because this is where I want all of the moisturizing, hydrating, and I hate greasy palms. I don't want to leave a greasy trail. Now, that being said, my very best friend and some other people absolutely love being greasy. So use it however you enjoy it. And so that's our lotion stick. And then the next product was our nail files. And I actually was, when I discovered these, and they're by the company Mont Bleu, not Mont Blanc, which actually makes calligraphy fountain pens, for the longest time, because I adore calligraphy. I kept getting the name wrong. Anyway, I was like, oh, we'll do this as kind of like a giveaway thank you for kind of a promotional thing. And then when they arrived, and I was like, man, these are just so awesome. This should be a product that we carry. So I was so excited to get our logo on it. And some of you probably still have the old logo, where it's a different type of kiss print. And I'm sure many of you have seen our logo change from actually having, like, the label was black. The label was clear, but all of the printing was black, and it was just called Pure, because it was pure enough to eat. It still is. It doesn't taste good. You can eat it all. I just don't recommend it. So if children lick it, if dogs lick it, nobody's going to die. It's all going to be fine. And in fact, dogs like to lick it off. Kittens do. Some cats do too. And we've had several people who have had dogs destroy their little plastic bottle, and they just eat it. And then another thing too, some of you may remember, not this product, as many of you know, Simply Peel, but we had the oil in a bottle. And that's because people wanted to have the bottle by their nightstand. And so we offered that, and I did discontinue it after about a year because toddlers were spilling it. They would get in and they would just dump it all over the floor. And we had enough parents crying. Like, my toddler just dumped it all over the floor. It stained the carpet. And I knew that people were using way too much. Because one drop of our oil is enough to do 5 to 10 fingers. So I was just like, you know what? This is not in the best service. This is not in the highest good, best service of the customer. I have to make decisions based on what is good for you. And sometimes you guys don't like it. You're like, I want it differently. And I'm like, no, you don't. I could tell you all the reasons why you don't, but that's how these different permutations of, and the different containers of why we have things have turned out that way. Okay, let's see, where am I? Come on, computer, wake up. Okay, so then after about late 2014, our business was growing really well. We were starting to outgrow our office, and so we were thinking, well, we have this sort of empty shop on our property that was just stashed, stuff was stashed in there. It was a garden house, a shop for different owners and stuff. And we were like, well, maybe we could convert that into a bigger shipping area. Because we literally started, there's just the regular everyday closet that everybody has with like the louver doors, the accordion doors. That's where our shipping area was. It was that small. And so we were like, we need to be a little bit bigger. And so we were working with our business coach, and he called the city to find out on our behalf, anonymously, to find out if we were zoned for that. And they said, no, they are not zoned for that, and they should not be doing that business out of their home. They actually need to be in light industrial. So our coach was like, yeah, get on that ASAP. And within about a month, we had leased a 2,000 square foot warehouse for 3 years. And that was very, very scary because the rent on that was almost as much as the mortgage on our house. So that changed the cash flow on our business pretty quickly right there. We were also starting to get more employees, and the 2,000 square foot, it was like so huge that I actually had a kind of a pop-up, fairly big travel camper, and my mom had the same one that was about 2 feet longer. And so both of us had our campers stored in there because there was plenty of room, and we were in a quarter of the warehouse. It didn't take us long to kick mom's camper out, and then probably about 6 months later we kicked our camper out, and we just kept expanding into that. And we're sort of starting to bust at the seams. Business needs to grow a little bit more, and then we'll start looking at a bigger place. But it's pretty exciting. And if you go to Instagram, you can see. Did we leave it in the stories? Oh no, it's in the feed also, where you can see that. You can see John, our warehouse manager, he's taking a break and he plays disc golf. So he's practicing that. And so you can see he's on one side of the warehouse, and the disc golf cage, whatever you call it, you can tell I'm really knowledgeable. Anyway, where they toss the frisbee into, not frisbee, disc. They will kill me for saying that. Anyway, so you see Corey pan all the way across the warehouse. So now you can see how full it is. It's pretty darn cool. Lots and lots of boxes of bubble bags and more boxes and all of the different parts and components. And inventory is not fun anymore. It was a lot easier when we just had oil and some mixing balls. So, okay. I'm hoping that I'm going to make it all the way till the end. Oh, I might. I'm about halfway done. Oh, I'm tracking good. Okay, so got that far. So the next product that I discovered was the Ladybug polish holder. And when I found this, and it was in the UK, I think they're trying to switch. It's called the Polish Pod, which, knowing business, that was an interesting business decision. I don't know why they couldn't get Polish Pod in the United States, so they ended up calling it the Ladybug. It's really cute. It's got these. So this one on the bottom is curved, and then these two are flat so that you can prop it either direction that you need it. I actually prop it away from me so that, because I wipe the outside of the neck, I wipe away from me so that then the product is on the side of the brush facing me. Is that right? Like we just do stuff and we don't even know how we do it. Anyway, it fits. Let me grab this. It fits all different kinds of shapes of bottles and holds it in that foam. And so I love it. The only thing that it doesn't seem to hold very well are those teeny tiny little bottles that are about 5 mils. Anyway, so it rolls around, and I spill polish all the time. So that's why I was like, I have to carry this. Excuse me. So I love the Ladybug. And let's see, what was next? Oh, many of you will remember we had a base coat and a top coat. It's called Simply Smooth and Simply Quick, and best top coat I'd ever experienced. And then, so we carried that for about a year, maybe 2. And then I went to order, and there was this nice little note on the front of their website that said, "Thank you so much for 38 years of business. We have decided to move on." And I was like, I can't even call anybody. I can't find out where you are sourcing this from, because I knew they weren't manufacturing it. It was white labeled for them, and white labeling means that a product could be created by a manufacturer and they can actually sell the same product to many companies, and it's labeled as each of them. So each of the companies, and guess what? The ingredients are the exact same thing in all of them. But I had never experienced anything like that ridge filling base coat and then our quick dry top coat. And so I know many of you miss it, but I don't know where to get it anymore. And the other issue people have been asking, I started down the path of working with a manufacturer to recreate it. And they sort of got it right. They didn't quite. And then there was the decision of, well, technically, legally, we're only allowed to sell it in the United States. We can't ship it. It's not supposed to go on an airplane. I failed to understand why you can take a bottle of polish with you on an airplane in your purse, but I can't have it packed in a box with lots of bubbles and peanuts and everything, and it can't go on on an airplane shipped that way. Oh well, I digress. So those were discontinued, and I don't think, because of the fact that we sell globally and I can't sell that globally, I'm not sure we want to get into that. Plus, there's just a lot of other companies and products that base coats, top coats that you all love. A lot of people have also asked me if we're going to carry our own line of polish. No, there are so many. Well, I can't say never, 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 but there's so many good companies and good mixologists that create amazing polishes that some of them have started small like we did and they've become huge. I can think of a few brands, but that's okay. And so I just sort of feel like that's not, our mission is to create life-changing products with an exceptional customer experience. And we live that every day. And since there's so many different great companies, especially commercial companies as well, who have great polishes, I kind of feel like, how is that creating a new life-changing product? It's not. So as we grow and are eventually needing to have more and more, could we? Maybe. I don't know. It still gets us into the fact that I don't know how other companies ship globally. But that's a project for another day. So then the next thing that blew up our company, blew it up in a good way, was creating Simply Peel. And I had been looking for something that could deal with the fact that when we use cuticle remover to remove the dead cuticle, dead skin that's on our nail plate, because that's actually the cuticle. So when you use a cuticle remover, like my favorite is the Sally Hansen one because it's a gel, but when you do that, if it touches your skin, and actually if you read on the back, it says do not have it touch your skin, because the main ingredient is lye, and lye dissolves human protein, dissolves any skin proteins. So it doesn't care whether it's alive or dead. And when you get it on your skin, you can get those really fine shredding hangnails because that's what it was doing, was dissolving that skin. So I was like, Mom, go chemist for me. Create something. What is there? And so she did a bunch of research and she's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing out there that dissolves human protein like lye does. And so then we kept thinking, well, how do we neutralize it? Can we come up with something that changes the pH? And it turned, and she's like, no. And so for a couple of years, she and I kept having this back and forth. And then finally, when I saw a couple of companies had come out with a liquid latex, and they were using it for nail art, and I started putting two and two together and went, oh, that's the solution. That's the solution for protecting your skin from cuticle removers. And that's why we decided to start carrying it. I did not start carrying it for nail art. And I wanted to stand out, so I put glitter in it to be fun, because who doesn't love glitter? And there are a couple people, but for the rest of us, we love glitter. And that was an interesting project. We actually, a couple of companies sent me cease and desists. Well, one sent me one, which was ridiculous. And then another one, I found out that they wanted to send me one, but because there was patents involved. And were we stepping on anybody's patents? And it turns out we were not. And so I felt very confident of, no, this is here to stay. This is why I created it. I want it for cuticle removal. Although it's being used for nail art, obviously, but that's not my intention. So Okay, so that's Simply Peel, and that expanded our business so much. It did because of the nail art world, because they were using it the same way that they were using the other competitor products. And just so you guys know, competition is a very good thing. I don't have a problem with having competitors out there. There is always room for more, especially if we're doing it better. But at the same time, running a business, you have to be looking forward and way, way, way forward. And if you're not, then you're going to be successful for a moment, and then you're just a blip on the radar, and you don't have a business anymore. So it's important to continually be expanding and looking. And I know you guys don't, some of you may not believe me, but I literally have been watching the nail art community, the nail community, every day for 6 years. I don't even know if I've taken all my Christmases off. I have had like 4 days. I got to a point right before sort of the recession hit where I actually was starting to take some days off. I got 4 of them. 4 solid days, once a week, where I wasn't actually, it was a business coaching thing of I was not allowed to think about, look at, read about, talk about business at all. And it took me 2 days off to figure out what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with it? So, but otherwise, I have been engaged with you guys or engaged in business at some point and watching the whole community for 6 years. So I'm constantly looking at what's new, what's the problem, where can we fix things. Someday I'm going to run out of ideas, but so far not yet. Let's see. Okay, am I going to run out of time? I am going to run out of time. And you know what? I'm just going to start a new one after that because I'm not even close to being done. Let's see. Okay, so Simply Peel. Just as a kind of a little tidbit into 2018, the future of Simply Peel, since I'm talking about that. It's recently come to my attention that the amount of glitter that is ending up in our oceans is astounding. And so we're going to pull the glitter out of Simply Peel because I don't want to contribute to that. So it's a sad thing. I know many of you will be upset, but one of our values is to do more with less, and it's important to help the environment to whatever capability we can. So that is a one little piece of thing that we can do to help save the environment. And from what I hear, glitter is going to be banned. Glitter as it is, as we know and love it, is going to be banned soon because of that. So I guess biodegradable glitters will start, they exist. I don't know how good they are. They won't work in solvents at this point, so I don't know how all of that's going to work. Because we just all love our glitter polishes way too much. Okay, so some of the next products, actually, the next big one is our Miracle Mat. So again, not first to market. I saw a couple of other ones come on. Actually, it was the first one. Who was the first one? I can't remember. I should remember. But anyway, I saw it and I was like, there's something missing. There's a few things missing. And so I actually went to several big bloggers that I was friends with. And I said, what do you want? What would you want on this? And can I deliver it? And it was actually simply nailogical. Christine came up with the ideas for the create and contain circles. She was like, man, it would be great if you could create sort of these little wells in it. And I was like, wow, you are making this project very, very expensive. And then there was other ideas. I liked the idea of having the grids so that you could make your nail art decals exactly the size of your nails, just slightly bigger, so that you don't have this big giant decal that you're fitting on a tiny little nail and then you're having to get rid of all of this extra. I need to do more videos on how to do that. And then I also wanted a bigger testing zone for black and white, and so you could test your stamping on this. And I absolutely love these create and contain circles. And so actually the other thing was, how can I protect my work surface? So I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got a raised edge here. And so I realized, oh, if I could create this raised ledge, so if we spill polish or we spill acetone, acetone's the big one. If you spill acetone, is it going to catch it? And I've spilled a quarter of a cup of acetone on this, and yes, it does. The edges catch it. And so I realized, oh, with Christine's idea, well, if I'm going to pay to have a mold made so I have this raised edge, how about if I create her idea of raised edge circles? And so that's how those came about. And they are a great place to hold those crazy little Swarovski rhinestones that like to hop like fleas, or the little caviar beads, or even you can water marble decals in these. Very cool. I haven't promoted that in a while, but so that is our Simply Neat Miracle Mat. And actually we're going to be changing the name to Simply Neat Manicure Mat. So it goes along with our whole Simply theme. Okay, what's next? I'm going to turn into a pumpkin in about 9 minutes. Okay, so the next one, we really wanted to have a tote bag to kind of like to give away to people, so we created that. And then we were like, well, we should sell this because I'm sure there's people who want it. So it's not a huge seller, but it's fun having that. Also, we stumbled on, one of my team members brought to work, excuse me, these little highlighters, and that's one of the things I actually don't have with me, but this is adorable little highlighter that looks like a polish bottle. And so those are fun. And then the next product was coming up with our stamper. Hang on. I was using it to create this nail art, so I moved it. Anyway, it's going to be backwards no matter what. But I wanted, because of the Miracle Mat, I needed to have a stamper that I knew worked with the mat. And I didn't really want to get into nail art products, but when I created the mat, because that is to protect your table as well as create a nice work surface that you didn't have to worry about destroying your table, then because people are using that for stamping, I realized not all stampers work on the mat. And so then I was on the new search for a stamper that's going to work on the mat. And I actually have a whole drawer of samples that I got from China of all of the different ones that I tested, and I kept testing over and over and over with different kinds of stamps and different, stamping plates and different polishes and speed and all of, like, trying all of this stuff. It took me months, and finally settled on this one. And there was a reason for this piece on it, and once I found that, there was only one company that was manufacturing it that way. It's not to take off, although you can, but it actually, let go. What it does is it helps keep the stamp head, it helps keep it from popping out as you're doing, because what was happening without this was that when I pushed down, it was pulling the whole stamp head out. And that's just because of the nature of the way the air is in there. So when you covered that up, then the stamp head, for the most part, every once in a while it comes out, but that's okay. And so I have a whole bunch of stampers of other kinds that just don't work. So that's how that came about. And it's funny, it's interesting watching how things happen, and we start something, I pick something new, and then I see others. And that's a good thing. Competition is a good thing. It makes us all better. Okay, so the next thing is our Soak and Swipe manicure clips. And I was talking about these yesterday, but I had discovered probably about a year in that Deborah Lippman had created, she had this technique of taking a small piece of cotton and putting it on, soaking it and putting it on your nail and letting that sit for about a minute, and then you just swipe it off. Great. Okay, loved that. Because when you grind, when you're twisting like this, what are you doing as you dissolve all of these pretty pigments? You're grinding those pigments into the top surface of your nail plate. That leads to way more staining, especially the pretty color staining, like the pink and the red. Pink, red, blue, black, green. Purple. I have a purple that stains very badly. So, but I hated the whole process because it was so cold. As acetone is evaporating, it evaporates so fast that it makes it very, very cold. And it was just a very painful process. So I was going to test these because they're sold for gel removal, and I happened to have them and I needed to remove my polish, and so I thought, well, I'll just test these with regular polish. And boy, did that blow my mind, because all of a sudden the whole process was warm, and warm acetone works even faster. And so all of a sudden, a normal manicure only takes about 30-40 seconds. So by the time I start with this one, get over to my thumb, then I'm able to actually remove this one, and I go swipe, 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 done. And you're on to the other hand, and you're done with all of that in about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how fast you work. Glitter polishes take about 3 minutes. Gel takes 15, 20. That's pretty typical. If you're removing gel, for sure you want to make sure that you're removing that shiny surface, because acetone won't penetrate through that surface. Once you've removed the shine, then the acetone can penetrate. Okay, so life changers, those are on sale actually right now. Okay, somewhere I'm going to get a 2-minute warning, and then I'll just start again and finish up. And if there's any questions, if any of you have asked me questions, it won't save them. I won't have seen them, so ask them again when I start again. Okay, the next thing is our lip balm. And guess what? I don't have it. But you know what lip balm looks like. And for that one, that was another project I sent to Mrs. Chemist. And I had back long time ago, Avon had created a lip balm, or kind of a lipstick, and it was a plumping lipstick, but they had a lip conditioner one that had no color. And so, but it was the only thing that I had found that stayed all night and moisturized, had my lips not be dry in the morning. So I was like, Mom, could you create this? And she looked at the ingredient list and she's like, and there's 25 ingredients, a lot of them you can't even pronounce, and no, I cannot create a product like that. I cannot do those ingredients. And so I was like, okay, put that one on the back burner for a while. And then I put that back on her front burner, and I said, I need you to create it. I need you to create a product that will stay on my lips all night and keep them feeling moist, soft. And it took 5 months and several different variations, and I actually said, more beeswax. And so she made one that was basically the way I wanted it. It was so hard you couldn't even use it, and so that was my learning lesson. Don't ever tell her how to do her job. But she figured it out, and you guys will be amazed. It's not like any lip balm you've ever tried. So on that, I see 37 seconds. I am going to end these, and then I will start another one, and I will finish up. And if any of you had questions, then I will answer those. Okay, so I just finished talking about the lip balm, and let's see, the next product that again, you guys, it sounds like sort of a recurring theme, but when I started, I got from Sally's Beauty Supply the cotton grabber that has a pink handle. It's really cheap. It was $2.99. Now it's like $3.99, I think, or $4.50. Um, and I brought it home, and I used it once, and it busted. The little claw parts like flung across the room, and Corey was able to put it together, but I was not impressed. And so I spent forever looking all over AliExpress, Alibaba, just tons of constant Google searches of trying to figure out what to call this thing to see if there was people manufacturing it already. And so I finally was able to track that down. And so we created, I had found a company in, so actually I got some samples from China, and actually you've seen those. They have a bronze handle, and anyway, so you know which one I'm talking about that has the bronze handle, and there's probably other companies starting to carry variations of that one. And it's about $5. And I got that. I got some samples of that, and it was stiff. And it, when you pushed on it, it felt like it was grinding, and it just felt cheap. And so I decided I wanted something that was like really, really good quality, and finally was able to track it down, something for the jewelry industry. And guess what? This is it. And so nobody in China could make it, because, you know, we source some of our products from China. And like our Miracle Mat, I tried to find a company here in the United States, because we try to support United States manufacturing if at all possible, but nobody made it. The only thing that was like silicone was like big giant sheets of silicone that was like thick. I don't remember what it was for, but it was, nobody was doing what I needed. And so anyway, so the company that we found actually was in Pakistan, and they did a beautiful, beautiful job. And it's really hefty, and it feels like a something that you would find for the medical industry, of good clamps and scissors and things. So it's really, really high quality, and I was really, really proud of when they finally sent me a sample, and I was like, yes, we got it. Okay, finally. And this is the first product, I think it's the only product right now, that we offer a 100% money back lifetime guarantee. If it breaks, just let us know. And so I'm really, really proud of that. And what it does is you grab your cotton, and you can use it to then remove your polish on one nail if you screw it up. And I use it for cleaning my mat, anything where you need to just clean stuff up. Love it. And especially for your stamping plates, to use cotton and acetone and clean your stamping plate. Okay. Love, love, love that. What was next? Let me grab my notes. I'm almost done. Almost done. It's been a long 6 years. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Okay, so nitrile gloves. Those are next. And one of my best friends, Britt, she has really dry skin, and so she loves, loves, loves the oil and our lotion stick and our discontinued fluff, and she's just, I don't know where she came up with the idea, but she just decided to slather her hands with everything, because her hands are always dry, and she put nitrile gloves on. She calls them crime scene gloves, because hers were black. And so she was just thrilled with the results, and she's like, Anna, you have got to try this. And so when I did, I was like, wow, my hands feel like baby bum soft. And when I did the overnight treatment with no polish on, the oil had soaked all the way through the nail plate on my tips and made them clear. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's how we get the oil all the way through the nail plate. And when you're, so what the nitrile gloves is, they warm up, it uses your body warmth to warm up the oil, warm up the lotion sticks so that they can penetrate faster and better. And so what that does is it makes your nail tips stronger and more flexible at the same time. So it's a very, very good thing. So then I was on the mission for the right kind of nitrile gloves. And it was like, you know, you guys can get them anywhere. But I was like, wow, it would be really cool if I could find red nitrile gloves for Bliss Kiss, of course. And the only company or the only place you can get them is in the UK. And I was like, well, that's not very helpful. So in all of my down the rabbit hole journeys of trying to find different products, I discovered these. And they are 30% thicker than normal nitrile gloves. They do not stretch the same way. So they're a little less stretchy, but they're pink because they've been created for people who work with chemotherapy drugs, and they are manufactured to last for 4 hours in those drugs before they fail. So they are great gloves, and people have been able to reuse them if you carefully remove them by releasing the kind of the seal and the grip and sort of rolling it this way. You can get the nitrile gloves off and then pulling them off carefully to reuse them. I don't know how many times, but definitely can reuse them, which is very cool. Again, less things in the landfill, so trying to do more with less. Let's see. Come back here. So those nitrile gloves, very, very important for, we're changing it from the overnight hydration treatment because a lot of people, I get it, you can't sleep in nitrile gloves. So we're going to just call it the intensive treatment, and you can do it for 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever you want. Some people wear them through most of the day. You can wear them while you're watching a movie, that kind of thing. You know, give yourself some love and you will just love it, love it, love it. Yes, you can do the treatment with polish on. It just won't penetrate into your nails. It will make your skin feel fantastic. Okay. The next thing that I discovered, you know, all my rabbit holes constantly, I never know where they're going to take me, is the car seat key. Car seat key. I think that's what this is. This funky little gadget, I just love it, and I wish it had been around when I had toddlers. And what you do is you push this, you slide this onto a car seat, the car seat buckle, and this part pushes down on that so that it all pops apart. And this is freaking fantastic for all of us who have little ones and we're dealing with those stupid car seat things, and then also for grandparents, because grandparents' hands aren't strong enough to do some of these crazy buckles now. And I have heard stories of grandparents they're like calling the parents of their children, of their grandchildren, saying, I can't get your child out of the car. So that's why we carry this. It is another problem solver. And I had to have my nails really short when I had kids, when they were little. And I had 4 kids. They were all, two of them are 2 years apart. The others are 3 years apart. And so I swear it was like 12 years of diapers, it felt like. I had like a whole bottle of champagne when I was done with the last diaper. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm glad my youngest is 11 now. Okay, so I digress, but this would have been awesome because I would have loved to have longer nails. So yeah, you guys, and it sits on your keychain. Whack myself. Sits on your keychain or wherever you want to put it. But so awesome. The 2 people who created, a brother and sister, brilliant. And one of them was the woman was a nail tech, or is a nail tech. So love that. That's the car seat key. Nobody really knows about it, but I love it. Love. Just so you guys also know, and I don't know how long we're going to have them. I don't know. Do I have them here? We also have dish gloves. They're my favorite dish gloves. And they have this flocking inside that is like nothing that I've ever felt before. And it doesn't behave the same way and get all crumbly and powdery like the cheap dish gloves, kitchen dish gloves. So I love those, and I use dish gloves everywhere. I know that's one of my biggest things. Wear gloves everywhere. And everybody goes, I hate wearing gloves. Well, you know what? I do too. And you can't have it both ways. If you want beautiful nails, you have to wear gloves. Just period. You've got to wear dish gloves. I actually have a pair of dish gloves over in the laundry room for when I'm pulling heavy clothes out of the washing machine. I've broken many nails on towels and jeans, and putting them in the dryer. I use them in the greenhouse. Everywhere. And for sure when you're cleaning the darn toilet. I hate that job. Is there anybody who likes that job? I don't think so. Anyway, okay. Okay, so then a lot of you guys know this is our latest product, our last one, along with I finally found a case. Let me address this one. I had finally found a case for our crystal nail files because they are glass, they do break. And especially when they get snapped this way. So they break a lot in purses and backpacks. So there are metal cases, but you know what? They break in a metal case. So sorry. So I was really excited to find a plastic case that looks beautiful. It looks metallic, but it protects your nail file. So then the last thing is our travel kit. It's upside down, sorry. Our travel kit, I love that we were able to get our logo embossed in it. And I know you guys have heard me talking about this a lot, but you get, oh, there's our lip balm. So you get our lip balm and our lotion stick mini, a nail file, a small nail file with its matching case, and also a fragrance-free oil pen. And the reason for that is just for sanity of my team, of not having to have the different fragrances. So because a lot of you guys are constantly asking me for new products and not really understanding the whole process of what does that mean for a business to have 4 different fragrances of everything. So if we had 4 different versions of this that needed to be pre-packed and boxed and waiting to be packed into your orders and stuff. So that's why it's fragrance free, and that's why it's the only option. It makes it just easier for us. And then if you guys want your fragranced ones, then you can order your favorites. So super proud of this. And for some of you, you know that when we first started selling these, the travel kits, they came with our little infant nail clippers. It took us quite a while to finally be able to find a source for these, because not very many companies make them. And it's really hard to tell online when you're ordering things of what the size actually is. And so when we finally got these, and we included them in the travel kit, but people, and they were being given as Christmas gifts, and people don't understand that these really are kind of fragile. They're for infants' nails, which, you know, they're paper thin, but so they're really not for cutting your nails. They're not for cutting grown-ups' nails. They are for cutting hangnails and dead skin that you get around. You could probably cut like a tiny little corner to sort of, if you got a chip, and to smooth that out. But that's why we've taken these out, because people have been breaking them. They break at, where is the, if you can see, this little spot right in here, there's this teeny little bar that goes inside, and so people were pushing way too hard in order to cut through their grown-up nails, and it was busting that little piece of metal. So when you know what they're for, especially because it's really hard for international people to find these, then you are going to love them. I cannot go anywhere without mine because I am a skin picker. You wouldn't know it, and we have names. Kirsten and I have put together this whole spectrum of different kinds of people who bite their nails and pick at their skin. And I am a perfectionist picker. You would not know it, but without these little infant nail clippers, I would tug at these little hangnails that are on the side and I will rip them down and get them in, and then they get infected. So that's why we have this, and you can stick that in your travel kit. Okay, so I think have I covered everything? I have. So to kind of to wrap up with all of this, it's a long story. Is one of the things when I was saying earlier that competition is good, and one of the things that I think has made us at Bliss Kiss really successful is that, like I was saying at the very beginning, find things that are selling and do it better, or sell it to a different niche type of market than. And so for most of these, I have not been first to market. And that's a good thing. That's a good way to start a business. I just always have been working on how can we do it better? How can we create more value for you? How can we live into that mission that we believe in creating life-changing products with an exceptional customer experience? And that customer experience, as many of you know and appreciate, we live into that every day. It's challenging a lot of times, but it's really important, and this is a big reason why I've been reticent, is that the right word? Leery, cautious of having distributors, because then the customer experience goes to them, and I don't want Bliss Kiss to change because of somebody else's poor customer experience. So, okay, what's the future? The future of Bliss Kiss is we've realized, and I knew this when my boys started using our oil on their eczema symptoms, because that's kind of all right, I'll try and make this story quick. Especially Dane, he's had eczema since he was an infant, and it just sort of kept getting worse the older he got. And we took him to the dermatologist, had allergy testing done, kept him away from the foods that he was allergic to, and then as he grew up, he was less sensitive to those, but they still bother him enough to flare up his eczema. And so the dermatologist said, okay, his skin barrier is compromised. This is why his skin always looks so dry and it feels prickly. So what you need to do is have him take a 10-minute bath in warm water, not hot, but warm water, and then get out and pat dry, and then use a really thick cream to, quote, trap in the water, trap in the moisture. Well, what that thick cream did was just make my boys feel hot and slimy and sticky, and they hated it. And so after a couple months of that, they were like, I'm done. I would rather take the symptoms of eczema and forget it. So as I was learning about all the oil and everything, and I realized moisture, hydration to nails and skin, the body gave us the answer. It's body oil. So why are we doing this? Why? It's not water. Water pulls the oils out of our skin. That's why when we take a nice hot shower and we come out, our skin is so dry, and you just have to put something on because it's so dry. So I was like, why are we having him soak in water? It's doing the opposite. And so I had him start using the oil, and that was the magic formula. Within 3 days, all of his eczema symptoms were gone. I am legally not supposed to say that, but it happened. So let's see. So then I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. And dermatologists, you go to the main eczema website, and it talks about the same diagnosis, same regimen of do this with the bath and the lotion, and with some of the baths even put a few tablespoons of bleach in it. And I'm like, no, just use oil. Just use a good high quality oil. And so it's doing amazing things for people with skin issues, and I'll let them share how it's working. So if you have skin issues, we have a support group over on Facebook, and the best way to get to it is to go to myblisskiss.com/healthy skin, and you will be emailed all of the information that we've put together, and then a link to how you join, and then we're working really hard to get you approved within 24 hours, because we want to keep out the crazy people who are not nice. And then we also are very focused on helping people who bite their nails, or even bite their skin. Like, I have been known to work on a callus, which is dumb because teeth are terrible at working on calluses. So people who bite their nails or pick at their skin, this is a really, really big one for, I think, the globe. I think a majority of us have one or both, or a blend of one or the other, or a blend of them. And so using our oil and the other tools that are in our travel kit, those are your tools to help replace that negative habit with a positive habit that then you can be proud of your hands. And not, we've had people who have literally, they bite their nails so much, they're meat grinders, that they keep their hands in their pockets. And one gal for 20 years kept her hands in her pockets and was so ashamed, and was able to use our oil and suddenly had nice hands, and was not afraid to have her hands seen by other people. That touches my heart. That is why we do this. So we also have that support group, myblisskiss.com/healthy nails, and that will, again, will email you the all of the stuffs. And let's see. This is the last piece. I'm so excited for this year because I am working on a product that will be first to market. There is nothing like it. It's a complete game changer. And basically, this has nothing to do with gel or acrylic. That's a whole different process. But if you wear nail polish, you will want this. So I'm so excited. So right now it's in the chemistry department with my mother, and I am doing some testing, and I will continue to test the different samples that she gives me. And I am like, I can't. It's like, I so want to tell you, but I can't. Anyway, because I need to be absolutely sure that it's all gonna work. So anyway, okay, that is the end of the Bliss Kiss story. Wow, it's kind of interesting to have documented it all. So I have time for questions. So let me head back. I'll start with Facebook because that's usually smaller. Stephania, what a pretty name. I love your oil. It saved my nails. They've never been better than when I use the oil. Becky also says the same thing, loves the oil. Okay, so let me scroll back here to find, you guys have been, I can tell that there's been some good questions. Go back. Okay. So lots of you joining. I would love to say all your names, but I want to get to the questions. Let's see. Nails by Neff, hello. Thank you for the information about your manicure. I will never go back to that salon and find a pampering salon. I am so glad you said that, Neff, because I actually Clawgasmic. Yeah, I think that's it. Clawgasmic. She is a nail professional in the UK, and she posted in her story a beautiful picture of what nails should look like when the product is removed, and they looked like the product had never been there. And I was like, man, can I send everybody to you? So that made her day. But I had the opportunity to ask her. I said, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right things to people? What's the number one tip that I should give people when they're looking for going to a salon? And I didn't think about it, but it's excellent. She said, ask them how long does the service take for whatever you are wanting done. And if it takes longer, then you are finding the right place. If they're doing a full set of acrylic and they're getting you in and out of there in a half an hour, that's just way too fast. They're not gonna do a good job. So for sure, this is a great tip. Make sure you ask how long does a service take. And then also, I have talked about ask how they remove the cuticle. And if they show you this, leave, because they're going to cut your live skin. If they show you something like this or an orange wood stick, then you're fine. They're going to take good care of you. Also, they will be booked. You won't be able to get in to see them today. You probably will have to wait a week or two. And then also kind of do some research, ask around, ask about when you see people and their nails, and if you like the way it looks, say, where did you go? And does a particular name of a salon or a person keep popping up? So those were her suggestions of do your research and find out how long the service takes. Okay. Let's see. Stephania, again, when would you suggest is the best time to trim nails with clippers on your fingers and toes? My mom used to tell me never after a shower because of tearing, but I feel like that's wrong now. I used to see more. I used to do pointed, so I had always had blah 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 dot dot dot. Facebook isn't letting me see the rest of it. The best time to cut your nails with clippers. Whenever you want to. If you have very, very thick toenails, you definitely will find them easier to cut after a shower. Because I don't recommend showering with naked nails for your fingernails because it's damaging. I always cut them dry. And so, trying to find regular nail clippers. Again, oh, there they are. Sorry, I hate doing that, but okay, so here's the tip for cutting with nail clippers, especially if you've got a C-curve, a sharp C-curve like mine. It's a lot easier if they're flat, but don't start cutting straight across. You're gonna take your nail clippers and you're gonna do 3 cuts. You're gonna cut at an angle this way, then straight across. If you have a sharp C-curve, it may snap at that point. But if it doesn't, and then cut at an angle this way. And if you're going to do squares, make sure that that angle is fairly shallow. And also cut them about 2 millimeters longer than you want them to be, because then you're going to go back in with your file and you're going to finish them to the shape that you want. So that is my suggestion. Some people never cut their nails. I don't think that's a people are like, oh, you should never cut your nails because it's going to destroy them and make them peel and fray and all the things. No. But you have two choices, and I tend to do the latter. The first one is it takes about 20 strokes to remove of your nail file to remove 1 week's worth of growth. Okay. Doesn't matter whether you file one direction or seesaw back and forth. Doug Schoon, author of Nail Structure and Product Chemistry, proved that under the microscope that no, it does not matter whether you file just one direction, which would be should be 1, 2, 3 this way and 1, 2, 3 this way. It's not like you have to just file it one direction only. What people are talking about is don't do the seesaw back and forth. I have been seesawing my entire life. So he proved doesn't matter how you do it. And it's because the nails are dead. It's really because the nails are dead. So what you're going to do is cut them a little bit longer and then finish filing to the shape you want. I think that's the whole thing I was going to say. Janice, does it damage nails if you change polish 2 or 3 times a week? No. It's actually, like I've talked about before, it's really good to have polish on your nails all the time. It protects from water damage. If you're changing your polish 2 or 3 times a week, it's not damaging them, but what is going to happen is the acetone, because it is a solvent and it's dissolving your polish, it's also dissolving the oil that's in the top several layers of your oil, of your nails. So it's the acetone that's drying them out and making them brittle. So all you do is just reverse that with oil. Just spend some time, do a mini intensive treatment while you're watching television or something for a couple of hours, and get that oil back in there, and then you're good to go. When you are polishing your nails, you want to make sure that you use a lint-free pad and rubbing alcohol. I prefer rubbing alcohol for cleansing the nail plate right before you put on your base coat. And then I will use Q-tips and rubbing alcohol to clean the underside as well, because it gets dusty. And you want to, this is part of the Fab 5 wrap, is you want to wrap your base coat and your top coat all the way around your tips to prevent the water absorption. So remember when I said at the very beginning in part 1 that my thing that I was trying to figure out was, how do I get my polish to stop chipping in the shower? It took me a year to figure that out, reading Doug's book, experimenting, just writing articles, and the light bulb went on when I realized that your nails absorb 1/3 their weight in water, and that water and oil are the only 2 things that can penetrate into the nail plate. Certain oils, they have to be very small molecules. And of course wax, the jojoba wax ester, because under the microscope it looks almost identical to body oil, it penetrates into the nail plate really well. And where was I going? So with the Fab 5 wrap, that's how I figured it out. I was like, oh, the water is soaking all the way through my nail plate from the underside, and that is breaking my polish to nail plate bond. Hence the chipping. So then I started wrapping it, and voila, my manicures last. I can get them to last anywhere from 10 days to 14 days. So depending on the polish. It's weird. And it's not consistent with any brand. Some polishes last really well. I think it's just the pigments, the resins, the whatever. Some chip earlier than others. But the Fab 5 wrap has helped tons. Okay, so let's see. Stephania, awesome, thank you. The rest was just saying how I did a point ballet tip. Okay. All right, so, okay, let's get back over here to Instagram. Sorry, bifocals, I gotta be able to read this. Um, okay, a whole bunch of you joining. Um, there's Fat Firefly. I haven't ordered any of the cheap ones from China. Been waiting for the sale to get one. I'm guessing you're talking about our Simply Grab, the manicure, the cotton grabber. Yeah, that's okay. You aren't missing anything by not trying the ones from Germany. I mean, from Germany, the ones from China. Because then I got to your spot where it says, hello from Berlin, Germany. Okay. A whole bunch of you joining. Um, Shay underscore 0.04. Can you try and pronounce my name, please? Because no one knows how to pronounce it. Hopefully I pronounced it right. Chi says, love your job. Yeah, I do love my job. Crime Scene Gloves. I know, isn't that a fun name? Roaring Tiger says, I have a question about the Mega Hydration Kit. Is it possible to switch out the lotion and oil scent to winter instead of Chris? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can do whatever you want. And if some of you do not have our lotion stick, which you would love if you order, but you can use any other type of balm, type of lotion, BALM. You want something that does not have water in it. Because then when you put that in the nitrile gloves, the water is just going to make your hands sweat, and then you will get the wrinkly fingertips. And that's part of also how I know that the intensive treatment is not making your hands sweaty, even though it may feel like it, because you don't get the wrinkling on your fingertips like you would with water. So let's see. Allie says, I love these, I'm guessing the lives, but I haven't been able to watch since the summer since I have been so busy. I'm so glad I could watch today. Yay, I'm glad you guys were able to join too. There's Fat Firefly. I love that you as a CEO think of sustainability. That's fun. I'm not the CEO anymore. Corey and I used to both be the CEOs. Now I'm kind of just saying we're the owners, but he's the CEO now, and he's the executive officer. I am actually the chief creative officer now, the CCO. So I'm the crazy person who wants to go spend lots of money on these awesome ideas that I keep finding. And then Corey's the one who goes, slow down. Let's see how much cash flow we have. So, okay. Roaring Tiger, how much bigger are the medium-sized gloves to the smaller ones? I want my mom to try the intensive treatment, but she has bigger, wider hands than I do. Have her try the large. And just so you know, they are not as stretchy as regular nitrile gloves. So they are kind of snug with bigger hands to get your hands in this wrist part. Once you get past that, let's see if I can get, then they're okay. So I'm wearing a medium, and you can see that it's still kind of loose, but it's snug getting through this area. So if your hands are too big, that could rip. And if that's the case, then you probably just want to go to regular nitrile gloves that are more stretchy. 1964. Hey, Marilyn. I remembered. I love the gloves. I do it every night, and I can sleep with it. Good. Yeah, you know, I mean, a lot of you don't know if you could sleep with it. The first couple of nights that I did, I sort of had kind of fitful sleep. Every time I rolled over, I noticed them. And then by the third night, I didn't have any trouble sleeping. I can see a bunch of you at this point were liking the car seat key. broken many, many nails. Savvy and chic nails, diagnosed with arthritis at age 23. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. That's painful. Gadgets like this can help everyone. Yes. Let's see. Oh, thanks for the hearts, you guys. It's always fun. Kate Davis. Hey, Anna, I have quite a problem. I have super thin nails. Every time I grow them out, they start flaking at the tip and bending under my smile line. How can I keep my nails from flaking and bending? I'm going to send you to articles. So if you Google nailcarehq.com, and I want you to look up strengthen brittle nails. So you put in nailcarehq.com and those keywords. So just so you guys know, I've written over 90 articles at HQ, and you can go to Google, put in Nail Care HQ, put in the keywords of what your concern is, and then Google will deliver you the articles that I've written. So strengthen brittle nails, and then I also want you to look at how to stop breaking nails. I also want you to look at chipped nails in the shower. That's going to help you with the water absorption, because if they're flaking at the tip, I'm assuming that's also peeling. The official word is delamination, and that's what it looks like really, really badly. And this is what water does. Water gets under these layers, pushes them apart, and that's what causes peeling. So that article, and then you are also going to want the Fab 5 wrap, because polish, if you have really, really thin nails like I do, most people don't think that I do, but the Fab 5 wrap is what saves me. So that is 2 layers of base coat, ridge filling base coat, wrapped all the way around, 2 layers of color. Don't wrap it around because it's a nightmare to try and get it out. And then a layer of top coat wrapped all the way around. And it's real easy to remove that with a Q-tip and acetone when you're done. So that Fab 5 wrap is going to add temporary strength. And that's how I end up with nails. Otherwise, they'd break all the time too. Okay, let's see. Allie, as my nails grow out, the layers separate and often break. I have no idea why they separate because I don't pick at them and I always use oil. What should I do? Allie, nope, that was a different one. That's funny, you guys asked almost the same question. Okay, I'm gonna show you this because it's important. So here's why water is so bad. So if you can imagine, we have approximately 50 layers on our nail plates. Some people have less, some people have more. It all depends on the size of your nail matrix. The size and the shape determines how many layers you actually have. If you have a small matrix, you're going to have thinner nails. If you have a large matrix, you'll have thicker nails. So those layers are held together with this perfect blend. Let's see. Perfect blend. And this is what makes them transparent here. So they're held together with a perfect blend of water and body oil that's pumped up through the pink nail bed, okay, into the nail plate. And that's why it's transparent. So when you get to getting a free edge, it's no longer being nourished by the nail bed, and that's why it turns white, because it's drying out. Okay, so water, so it has that right blend, and then we wash our hands and we use acetone and we do all of these things that dry out the nail plate. And everybody thinks my nails should breathe. Your nails don't breathe, they don't have lungs, they're dead. And so you want nail polish to protect them. And here's my great example. Take a book. You have all of these layers, these pages, and they all stack nicely together. And you get them wet. And they look like this. Now our nails are a little bit more forgiving than the pages of a book, but this is what happens over time And so then let's pretend that this is your nail tip, okay? So you're getting tip wear, so you don't have polish protecting your tips anymore. And then water is getting in all of these layers and pushing them apart. And so then you take your polish off and you're like, holy snap, what happened? Why do I have all of this peeling? So it's really important that if you're noticing you get a lot of tip wear, that you need to keep adding more top coat, at least to your tips. Just cap those or do a new layer of top coat so that it helps protect. And this is why also wear gloves. Anytime you're dealing with water or chemicals, you need to wear the gloves. That stops all that water from getting in there. Okay, long-winded. 1964, I have infant nail clippers since my oldest son, and I've used it on him, on my second son, and now my 2 grandbabies. The nail clippers are 36 years old and they work beautifully. I know! I have a pair that are sitting on my purse, attached to my purse, that I have had for 20 years. So yeah, and they ended up in a drawer with my kids, and then I was like, oh, these would solve my problem. And the reason that they work better than bigger ones, so these are the bigger ones and these are the infant nippers, is because this is let's see, turn it sideways. This is much bigger, wider. This is smaller, closer in, and it's easier to get into these teeny little areas. And this is what I pick at. Remember I was talking? Grab those. That's dead. It's not gonna go back. It doesn't matter if you oil it or whatever. It's already separated. It needs to be cut off. And so these little infant nippers are able to get in there, and they're sharp and they're small enough to get just the skin, just the dead skin, and not the live skin. Because the larger you get, the less control you have. And it's harder to get into this tight space, and then you're more inclined to take live skin. So, okay. Marilyn says you should write a book on how you started your business so other women like you can at least try to do great the way you did. Thank you. I probably will someday. Oh, my journey's not done yet. I'm sure there's still lessons to learn. Yeah, talk about a big lesson. The recession. And, Amazon. I didn't talk about Amazon. We have a love-hate relationship with Amazon. You have to be there because Google loves Amazon and Google loves YouTube and now Pinterest. Those are the big search engines. And so Amazon has done some not nice things for us with a couple of our products. And so it got to the point with one of them that we actually reached out to the CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and said, look, we have the best-selling product in this category, and you had one negative complaint, and took down our entire listing of our product, and we were in #1 status. And as soon as they do that, and then when it gets reinstated, you're at the very, very bottom of the beauty category with millions of products, and we had to work our way back up. And I don't think we'll ever get to #1 again because of what Amazon did. And so that, combined with the recession, combined with IRS and what they want and all kinds of things, it's been a challenging year for us. But the great thing is that our team has really just kind of come together, and we've been working really, really hard, and especially like doing the lives and being able to connect with you guys more and answer more questions, because I will be the first to admit I'm terrible at getting back to all the emails. It just takes time to write. It's so much easier to talk. Yep, I can do that. Nails by Neff says, yay for breaking the law, Anna. Your oils are amazing. Thank you. Oh gosh. OCD Nail Art says it helps with not breaking my nails too. The Bliss Kiss lotion stick is awesome for after shaving. Yes, Corey uses it after shaving. I use it after shaving my legs. I use it at night. I use our oil too, especially right under there. So I'm making 50 look good. Not there yet. In August, I'll be 50. Roaring Tiger is excited to see what the new product is. Me too. Fierce Fat Firefly, am I making base coat? Nope, not going to. But I did do, for those of you who want to know, I did do a article about, I tested 6 different base coats, I think it was, and Norma in Canada sent me the Essie Ridge Filler, and I will be trying that. I feel like I need to get through the sale and the Get Naked challenge. But anyway, so I want to add that one. I wasn't able to find it in any of my stores. So if you go there, nailcarehq.com, and look for base coat, you'll find that article. And it was interesting which one was the winner. Surprisingly, Wet n Wild. And it's very inexpensive. Cheese says, I could listen to you all day. You're so sweet and always giving so much important information. Thanks for everything. I can't buy your products in my country, but you're changing many things in my life. Good. Yes, you can buy products in your country unless you're in the United Emirates, whatever, I can't think of it right now. There's one country that we can't send to because they, it's like one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, and they have the worst postal system, and they lose orders that they just never get delivered. And we've sent replacements, and those never get delivered, and we're just like, sorry, we can't do that one. But anyway, but we do ship globally. And just so you guys know, I just found out that postage is going up around the 20th for USPS. So definitely take advantage of the sale. I hate that the postage, I mean, you guys complain about the shipping, and I get it, especially international shipping. But, when we've looked at FedEx and UPS and some of these, it can cost $40 to $80 to send an order because of their whole system and their tracking. And of course it's better, you're gonna get your product, but it's expensive, and a lot of times the shipping is way more than the product you're ordering. But most people, this is part of why we do the sale. Most people find that the discount offsets the higher shipping price, so that then they can fall in love with it. And then we have so many international people, and they're like, I don't care what the shipping is. It's totally worth it. Which I agree. If I lived in Germany or the UK, I would pay for it. Let's see. Bugs Bunny Elbow, when will the new product be announced? I can't tell you because I honestly do not know. It's going to all depend on how long it takes for Mrs. Chemist to put together different variations, and then I have to test those variations. And many of you know that when I was testing those base coats, it took 2 months, and to decrease the variables, I had to wear the exact same polishes on top of it for 2 months while I tested different base coats underneath. It was a good thing I had chosen purple the first time around, because that's my favorite color, next to a peacock feather. So I can't tell you if all works well. I would say, okay, don't hold me to this. I'm gonna guess it'll be available for the next sale. But do not hold me to it, please, because I don't know how long the testing is going to take. This is why when you hear from companies that a product was in research and development for 2 years, this is why. And it just takes time, and I try really hard, as much as I want to, just like, oh, I'm so excited about this product, just get it out. it's important to do all the testing, and sometimes I don't get it all right and forget some things but anyway, I try my very, very best. Let's see. OCD nail art, do you still wear gel on your nails? I do not. And here's why. If I did, the soak off gels are great, but okay, so how do I say this? Because they're perfect for some people, but for me, I found that I was spending too much time because I like changing my polish. So I like changing all my colors of polish. I don't want to invest in a bunch of colored gel. So when I was wearing it, I was just wearing the base and then a layer of the top coat, and then I was putting polish on top of that. And it just was that I spend an hour and a half every 2 to 3 weeks redoing the gel, because you got to give it time to soak off. You need at least 20-30 minutes to soak all of that gel off, depending on the softness of the product. And so I was just like, why am I doing this? And when I just figured out the Fab 5 wrap, I got the same amount of durability as when I was using gel. So for me, I don't need the gel anymore. But for some people you do, and you find it very helpful, and I fully support that. The biggest thing is make sure you remove it properly. Oh my gosh, I'm at 2 minutes left already, and I haven't even, okay. I'm going to screenshot all of the rest of the rest, because I've been talking for 2 hours, and I'm gonna go lay on the sofa for a while. But I will screenshot all of these questions, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will answer those. So thank you for all of the hearts. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it was a lot to take in, but it's been a fun journey. So wild and crazy one, and I'm in it for the long haul. I really, really love connecting with you guys and helping everybody just love their nails and actually having the opportunity to choose how long you want your nails to be. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Hey, it's Anna. I've written over 70 nail care articles that you can find at nailcarehq.com. And if you're looking for products that will help you have longer, stronger nails, visit myblisskiss.com. Be sure to push the subscribe button and turn on notifications to get alerted when I publish more videos. This is Anna, signing off and sending you bliss.